Hello and welcome to this instruction video for iPico Wiz. As you can see, today we're going to talk about MicroGate clocks. I've just finished the integration in iPico Wiz for both clocks now, and I want to demonstrate how they work, so I put a webcam on them. I'll run through the clocks very quickly. On the bottom we have the big one, the micrograph. It can display a very big time or 3 lines, and you can also stack them both sideways and lengthways, so putting 2 on top of each other means you'll have 6 lines of results if you want. On the top there's the micro top, it's the Benjamin. It has a little bit less space obviously, but you can also extend it by putting on another one on the right, so you can display longer names if you wish. Today we're gonna show you how to configure these for the as race clocks, and I'm also gonna show you a new feature in iPico Wiz which was just completed, called a lap counter. It's a new paid license, so if you have any interest in it, ask Dennis about pricing. But it's very nice if you're, for instance, doing a 10k on the track. You can show the athletes how many laps they still have to go, and avoid having athletes run too many laps or too few, which is both not very good. Right, let's get started. As always, the first thing we need to do is connect to the iPico reader. There we go, job's done. If you use the previous version which had of iPico Wiz, which had a micro top integration for just the race clock, you'll notice that the button for the MicroGate is gone. I consolidated these all on the one screen, so you have the B2B and the MicroGate in one screen. It's much easier. And I'll show you, it's this button called the Add External Display screen. You can select which type of display you want to add. If you don't have the license, it won't display the screen, just assumes it will assume it's a race clock. But in this case I'm first going to demonstrate the race clock capabilities. You see the B2B there as well, but we'll start with the micro top. Let's start with an imaginative name, micro top 192.168.0.61. And you'll notice the clock is added to the top right of iPico Wiz. I'm going to add the micrograph as well. Micrograph 162.168.0.62. Yes. You also notice this as an extra option, number of lines on the display. Essentially it's asking how many micrographs you have stacked together. Since you have 3 lines on each graph, I have 1 graph, so 3 lines is fine. If you would put 2 micrographs on top of each other, make one big screen, you could put 6 here. If you put 3 on top of each other, you could put 9 here. That's basically the only configuration you have to do. So I have the micro top and the micrograph on the right. Let's see what happens when we put both of them on time of day, which is this button, same as with the B2B. You'll notice my webcam really doesn't like the amount of light coming from the boards, which is good if you're outside, a little bit less if you're inside. But it should adjust. Ooh, there we go. Should adjust a little bit better if both clocks are running. Right, this is the time of day, so it's 2:15, and we'll see about the other features on the clock. As you can see, I already started a couple of races with different times, just to have something to show you. So we'll start with resetting the clocks on both. There you go. And we'll start with adding some times. I'll put the English mile on the, which I guess for you is mile, on the top clock, on the micro tab, and the 15k on the bottom one. So it's fairly easy to exchange clocks. You can put as many times on it, you can add as many clocks as you want as well. And basically you have 3 controls: time of day, reset, and set time. You can also set the clock so that it will start when a race is starting, which is a new feature. It works basically the same as with just the distances. I'll take the 5K for instance. Put it on ready to start. In this case it's the little checkbox on the top, because I have really not much space in there. So if this is checked, then as soon as a start is detected and one of the races starts, it will put the time on the clock. So I'll just simulate that by sending a start signal, and you'll see it starts running immediately. Very easy and very nice. We use it a lot on street races, basically everywhere. Put a clock there on the finish, just a network cable, and you're good to go. Now I'm going to talk about the lap counter, the new feature. You have to add a different type of clock to iPico is. You can put both of them up at the same time, but as soon as somebody crosses the finish line, it'll display the lap information and override the clock, and it won't automatically switch back to the clock, so it won't wait a couple of seconds and then go back. It'll just display the person running over the mat, but it shouldn't cause a problem for or anything. So let's add the clocks. In this case I want to add a lap counter. I'll start with the micro tap. I'll put both of them up as well. So lap counter, micro tap. You can give it whatever name you wish, but I prefer this. 192.160.61. It'll add it. I'll add the graph as well before we go any further. Next, micrograph. Lap counter, micrograph. 68.0.62. Again, now the number of lines is important, of course, because those are the number of results I can display at once. 3 is fine, so I'll keep this. Okay, you'll notice it's a little bit different than the other clock. You still have the time of day, which still functions, because I really like it. So we'll reset both clocks. See, works fine. The reset button is also the same, but it looks a little bit differently, because for the lap counter it's just waiting, and for the graph, since there's a little bit more space, I made a nice graphic. I can actually change the graphic for you if you wish. I'll show you how. If you want to do it yourself, just contact me. I'll give you the information. It's not hard. You also notice that the combo box looks a little bit different. If you click it open, it'll display a couple of options. I can add to these again if you want something special. Just ask. But standard, it displays the X of I and start number, which means if you have I don't know 10 laps, it'll display you're on lap 3 of 10. And then add your start number. On the micrograph it'll also try and fit your name on whatever space is left on the board. The second one is X and last name, which means it'll display your start number and your the round number, the lap number and your last name, so no start number. Again, it'll try to fit as much as possible on the board, but if you have a really long name it probably won't fit, it'll just cut off. And the last one is the round number and the full name, so round 3 Leon Dirks, for instance, instead of just round 3 Dirks. For most events, the X of I and start number is probably fine. If you're doing like a sponsor race where people are running as many laps as possible in a certain time, the X and last name is probably better, because they don't really need to see how many laps they can do, because it's variable. So, but we're leaving it at the X of I of start number. So, well, next thing we need to do is finish some people, I guess. Yeah, should be ready for that. So I'm gonna finish them one at a time, so you can actually see what's gonna happen. The first one over the finish should probably be 121, which is Astrando Pinas. I have no idea where I got those names. He's doing a 10 kilometers, and he is, as you can see, only has one check time, which is always the finish. The last one is always the finish. So this one is he's gonna finish now. Oh, I forgot to reset after the last video, so we're actually looking at start number 245, which is a little bit lower on the there we go. And he's actually doing a 5 kilometer and which means he has 2 checkpoints and a finish. So he's on lap 1 of 3. He's start number 245, which is correct, and he's Adrian's or something. I would read it in Dutch. It would be Adrian's son, but I guess it's a different country. So you can see the difference between the top and the graph. The top can of course only display 1, but the graph also tries to put a name as much as it has space for. Right, I'm gonna reset the iPico, and I'm going to try and see if I can actually get the first person I intended to finish over the finish line. There we go. And this person actually finished, so it displays the start number and the finish time. Oh, should be 0, 1, but oh well, it works. So we have the finish time here. You can also see there's 2 lines, so the other one is also still visible. So if like 3 people finish at the same time, you'll get all 3 names displayed. Right, next one. Well, same as the other one. So I guess Mr. Bana is 15 kilometers. So he's on his first lap. We've already seen this one. And if you look at the iPico Wiz, I'm guessing the next one is 123. He did an English mile, which I guess for you guys is a mile. And as you can see, he has 1 checkpoint and a finish. So this is his final lap. And you can see it displays final and the start number, in this case 1, 2, 3. So it's a very clear signal to tell the people this is your last round. Put some effort in it and make a nice time. Right, that's basically it. I'll run the program and to show you exactly, just let it continue running for a little bit. And I thank you for your interest, and should you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at l.dirks@splittime.nl. For any commercial questions like how expensive the license is, or you want to buy the software or hardware or whatever, it's best to call Dennis, which is d.dirks@splittime.nl. So thank you for your interest, and maybe see you later.